Grapes coming in the morning here at Racarito. First stop on the scale, so get the weigh in. So they come around and got here to this conveyor here. So we dump it into the auger. Auger moves all the grapes down to here so we can go through the sorting belt. This is our sorting belt over there. So we can, if it was grapes are too dirty from the vineyard, we can sort any leaves or bad grapes are coming in. So we're going into the presses. So after here, all the juice come into this belt, so we can transfer all the juice to the presses. We dumping grapes in the auger, so grapes coming over here to the belt. So belt transfer all the way up to the presses. So all juice and all the grapes going to the presses. Here we can have a couple people sorting grapes. Taking leaves, so bad grapes, roots, whatever we come out, rocks out of the grapes. Grapes camp here to the other bell, so it's another step here so we can solder, but getting any snakes, sometimes snakes, it came through the grapes, and it comes here, goes down into the press, right, and then we start pressing. When we fill it, this press under us, it takes about 20 tons of grapes or over, so maximum 25, but we only do with 20 so we can maximize our production here. Okay, like we already talking about the white processed grapes, so the red grape process is same way. We receive a truck, go to our auger or to our belt. Belts came over here to this machine that we call the stemmer. So the stemmer is what they does is they take all the berries out of the cluster, and the clusters only the stems going down, and all the berries going down over here, so we can ship it from here into a 3-inch or 4-inch hoses inside to a press tank, and that's the process for the red. And here, like when we fill the press, here is our Diami press. We call them Diami press from those are from Italy. So this presses, we can go, like I say, 20-ton press, and we have different programs that we can do for sparkling wines. We go for still wine like Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, but there's a different programs that we need to program it for each individual grapes. We cannot press the same grapes with the same program. Each grape has its own program. So this is a 20-ton. So each 20-ton, we are getting about 165 gallons per ton. That's what we can get. The maximum, they can go to 170. But clients, the only ones from 160 to 165, they don't want to press too hard. So that's what we have to program in programs that make sure they don't press grapes too hard. You guys probably asking why we don't want to press 175 gallons or too much on the presses, on the grapes. Well, if we press too much, some of the winemakers, we know that if we press it harder, all the bitterness from the grapes, from the seeds, from the clusters, it comes into the wine, into the juice already, and that's not good for the wine. So it makes more bitter the juice of the wine at the end of the finish it. So that's why we only program to 160 to 165 maximum gallons per ton. All our juice from our presses coming here to our juice catch pan. So from here, we send it with the pump. It's a PD pump, P10 horsepower pump. So we send it to the tanks inside with hoses to those stainless steel lines inside the cellar. Now we're here in the cellar where we get all the juice inside here into this tank. There we have many different sizes of tanks, so it depends on how many tons of grapes. That's how we decide which tank we're gonna go. If we got 100-ton grapes, we go to a 22,000 gallon tank over here. It holds 22,000 gallons tank. If we only have 20-ton press, for one customer, we go to a 7,000 or to a 6,000 ton. When we send juice here, it's very important that our person or whatever is working on the presses make sure they set the temperature correctly here. So if you see each tank has a temperature control. So when we receive juice, we want to be sure that the juice is 50 to 55 degrees. We don't want to start fermenting right away. So we want to keep the juice at least 50 to 55. So that's why we program in here. and we double check, make sure that always the glycol's running here before we added the juice into the tank. Okay, then after we have the juice in the tank, and after 3 days of settling, or day and a half, depends on the winemaking procedures. So we rack all the clean juice out of another tank and add all the yeast, the malic, the tartaric, whatever they need. But some of the wines going into barrels too. So this is some barrels that some of the wines going into the barrels for staging. Most of the barrels going to wine is red wine going into barrels. There's a few clients that we have only for whites, but we're staging the red wine at least for 18 months in barrel.